So today we're talking about how do you find any one of our 6 ratios if it's an angle that's not one of our nice ones. A 30, a 45, a 60, a 90, a 180, one of our quadrantal angles, okay? So when it's not one of our nice angles, we're going to rely on the calculator. The calculator gives an approximation, okay? They are rounding, so you have to be careful. When you are asked for an exact answer, you are not giving some rounded decimal because that's not exact anymore. You have rounded it. If I asked you for the exact circumference of a circle, it should be in terms of pi, for example. Your answer would be 7 pi. You would not turn it into a decimal. Once you change pi to 3.14, you've rounded it now. It's not an exact answer anymore. Okay? So always be careful. If you're asked for an exact answer, you will not be using a rounded decimal. Okay? Sometimes, though, we can't avoid them. So that's what we're doing here. On the first one, I'm trying to find the sine of 49, I know it's a little hard to see, 49 degrees, 12 minutes. Your calculator can handle all of this, as long as you know how to type it in correctly. So, verify you're in degree mode, but we already did that. And then, all I have to do is hit sine. And then, do you remember how we did degrees and minutes? Yep, so I want 49, and then I want the degree sign. So if you look, and this is going to vary depending on what calculator you're using. Like if you're using a graphing calculator, it's a little bit hidden. But see, it says angle right there? So I want second angle. Yep, and then you see the degree sign as choice 1. So there's 49 degrees, and then 12 minutes, I just choose the minute option. It's a good idea to close your parenthesis. It's not going to, in this particular instance, it's not going to do anything if you don't, but it's always a good habit. And then you can go ahead and hit enter. So here is a rounded decimal. This is really a number that's going to keep going forever and ever and ever, but usually we round out 4 decimal places. So nope, you're right. If I go, because you want to look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be my last number. So I look at the number next to it, so that rounds up, which rounds that one up. So there's out 4 decimals, 0.7570. Now, unfortunately, if I look at B, there is no secant button. Exactly. You have to use its reciprocal. So this is going to be the same thing as 1 over, what's the reciprocal of secant? Cosine. So it's going to be 1 over cosine 97.977. All right. So, and my calculator can do all of that. 1 divided by, and then just cosine 97 point, what was it? 977. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so remember we're going to go out 4 decimal places. So 2059. Now, C is interesting. Yes, thank you. We just started notes on 2-3. You could, or if you recognize 1 over cotangent is the same thing as just tangent. So this is the same thing as just tangent of the angle, 51.4283. So you could just type in tangent of that, or you can do 1 divided by 1 divided by, and leave yourself open.
1 divided by 1 divided by
tangent, yeah. So we can just hit tan 51.4283. And our answer, 1.2539.
Wait, so it's 1 divided.
Well, you always want 4 decimals past your decimal point.
I got it wrong.
Here's a nice thing about using the calculators. If you look at D, it's a negative 246. You don't have to bother finding a coterminal angle.
Just do it.
You can just do it. You don't have to worry about reference angles. You just type it in as is. Do make sure that you're using the negative button, which, just to remind you, is underneath the 3. It's not the same thing as the minus key. So negative 246, and there it will spit out your answer. Why would you guys money? I feel like I do. Do you know? I feel like I owe you guys money. So, check if I owe you money for next time. All right, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. All right, so we feel okay with those? Yeah? So if we have a calculator, if you have one of the reciprocal ones, just do 1 over. And you don't have to worry about reference, coterminal, any of that stuff. All right. Okay, now in the next section, here's what they're doing. They're going to give you the decimal, and they want you to work backwards and find the angle. Okay? So if I tell you, do you remember from geometry how you do that? Like, do you remember? Do you remember if I gave you 2 sides, like say this was 4 and this was 5, and you had to solve for that angle?
Yeah, you do it's like Pythagorean theorem, get the small side, and then.
No.
You don't need it.
You don't need that.
Oh, you don't need it.
No, you do like SOHCAHTOA.
Yeah.
And then you do like so like if you have 5, or no, if you're using that angle, you need like the opposite over the adjacent. So it'd be like 4 over 5 or something like that. I don't know.
You're right, but that's the hypotenuse.
Over
Yeah.
hypotenuse. Yeah.
So it's opposite over hypotenuse. So what ratio is that?
It'd be sin.
Four.
So it's
Sine.
Sine.
Sine of my mystery angle equals opposite over hypotenuse.
Over
But then do you remember how you actually got the angle?
You put it in the calculator.
You did. But how? I don't know what the angle is, so I can't
Well,
hit.
if you know one of them 90.
Don't they all add up to something? Like, don't they all add up to something?
I'll refresh your memory. Well, let me go back another step. When you first learned SOHCAHTOA stuff, right? What we normally would have done was we give you one of the angles. We'll tell you, okay, this angle is 37, and this side is 4, and this side is 10. I don't know. I'm just making them up. And that's right. I'd have you solve for that side. So you'd say, oh, okay, well, I have the adjacent side, and I'm looking for the hypotenuse. So that's cosine. So you would do cosine of 37, cosine of the angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And then you would solve for that. Do you remember that? So here, I can literally just go to my calculator and hit cosine of 37, and it's just some decimal. And then I can solve for x. Here, though, I don't know what the angle is. So do you remember the keystrokes that you hit to get that? You're almost right, actually.
I literally meant negative. I know it.
I know, but it's funny that you say that, because what you type in for this is you want the inverse of sine, which written out looks like this. Yeah, so you want, it's called the inverse function, or arc sine, sometimes people call it. So if I want to know what angle has a sine of 4/5, I hit second sine 4/5. So look at it on the calculator. See how it comes up with that little -1? It's not actually, it's just the inverse of sine. So if I don't know what the angle is, I have to hit second and then sine, cosine, or tangent. So in this case, if I'm literally solving this problem, I would hit second sine 4/5. That's the angle. So the angle would be about 53 degrees.
How would we rate that when we say?
So angles, we almost always round to the nearest whole degree. So that you would just round it to 53 degrees. It's the ratios that we go out 4 decimal places. Okay, so if we look at our note sheet, here they're telling me, all right, the sine of my mystery angle is that crazy decimal. So I need to figure out, well, what theta, what angle had a sine of that? So all I have to do is hit second sine, because I'm trying to find the angle. Anytime you don't know what the angle is, you hit second sine, cosine, or tangent, because you want the inverse. And now I just put in that crazy decimal. 0.96770915. Again, it's a good,
So all you do is type in sine second?
well, you gotta do second sine.
Yeah, second.
Mm-hmm. And make sure that it has the little negative 1 on it. Hit enter, and that's going to get you the measure of the angle.
So sine will negative 1 is not the same as cosine. Those
I actually don't know. Hold on.
Griffin, I saw that.
No, not the same. Different.
No.
Different, yeah.
There's probably a case where like they come up even, but
Oh, wait. No, I'm right. No, they're not the same. Okay, so say I wanted to do B now. There's no secant button. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do, who's the reciprocal of secant? Cosine. So I hit second cosine and then 1 divided by my angle, right? Because I need secant, so I need the reciprocal. 4, 5, 8, 2, 9. Okay, so if I'm going to type this in my calculator, there's kind of my keystroke. So we'll hit second cosine and then 1 divided by that whole crazy decimal. 1.0545829. Close your parenthesis and hit enter.
why did we do 1 over? Why did we do that?
Because I need the reciprocal, right? Because it's 1 over the,
Yeah.
but I don't have a, yeah, okay. How about C? This one should be easy. What angle has a cosine of 2? What can I hit on my calculator to find out? Remember-
Doesn't that mean about 2? The curvy?
Yeah.
I don't know, I do better when it's drawn out. What do you mean by half?
Well, go back here to sine. Remember how we, oh, sorry. Remember how we found out this angle? I just hit second sine, typed it in that decimal. So shouldn't I just hit second cosine 2?
I mean, yeah, I probably did that.
Yeah, let's try it. Second cosine
I did that.
2.
It said domain error.
Weird.
Because it's 0 in the denominator. Do that.
It's 'cause we're in
It
degrees.
wasn't mine.
Oh, it's just 0. Oh, no, if it was 0, it would say syntax.
Everybody know why I can't get an answer here?
So it's cosine doesn't go bigger than 1.
Yes, exactly. Remember from your very first project Cosine only goes between 0 and 1. What about sine?
Same thing.
Same thing. What about tangent?
Anything.
Tangent can be anything. What about,
Wait, can tangent be less than 1?
it can be negative, yeah. What about the reciprocal one? So, sine has to be between 0 and 1.
Cosecant and secant are between -1 and +1.
So, hold on.
Can't get any bigger than
Who can't?
cosecant.
Well, let's start with, and we should actually be a little bit more clear. Sine can go -2, so it can actually be between -1 and +1. But I'm never going to get a sine value that's outside of that range. It always goes between -1 and +1. So the reciprocal of sine is cosecant. What are those values going to be?
Greater than negative. Technically less than negative.
Yes, it's everything outside that range. So it's, I can get anything less than -1 or anything greater than +1. So you'll never get a cosecant of 0.5. That's impossible. Because you're not in that range, right? So it has to be everything outside that range. Tangent and cotangent could both be whatever they want. Do you remember that? Okay, good. Oh, I'm so glad. All right, so the last little bit we're gonna try. We get to learn a formula today. Okay, we got to fill in some blanks here. Actually, let me stop